Morning, everybody. Hope you're having a good Thursday morning. I get up very early. I'm up at about 6 in the morning, and I've got a long school run with the kids. And I'm back, and then usually when I get back, Bear is desperate. Here she is to go for a walk. So I'm taking her for a walk. There she is. You can see her. We've got a big field behind our house. There's Mr. T. He's got a wheelbarrow because we forgot to order wood, and we kind of fancied having a fire tonight, so he had the genius idea of taking a wheelbarrow on our walk so he can pick up scraps of wood from the from the woods, which is quite a good idea, I suppose, but I'm definitely not pushing that thing up the hill on the way back. So so this is the field we go through, and then we've got some beautiful woods at the back, and I thought I'd bring you along to see if we could get some mushrooms, because it's mushroom season, and Mr. T's really good at identifying mushrooms. I definitely wouldn't do it on my own because I haven't had enough experience kind of identifying which ones are edible and which ones aren't. There's a really good book that we often refer to, and it's the River Cottage Handbook, and it's all about mushrooms, and it really clearly lays out kind of what ones are edible, what ones aren't, how to identify them, the smell of them, when you cut them open, what they should look like, all of the information you need to know. So I'll put a link on at the bottom in the text of what book that is. But the ones that we tend to look for are porcinis, ceps. And they're pretty safe to forage because there's not a lot of other mushrooms you can kind of mix them up with that are poisonous. However, really do your research, because you don't want to by accident eat something that is toxic, so you really have to take care on that. But so it's early October, so we're gonna have a look and see if we can find some mushrooms. Got some wood for the fire. You're gonna have to carry it up the hill.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the wheelbarrow.
Good.
As a woman collecting firewood.
There, I don't think you're gonna get it. I don't think you're gonna get it there. Another thing that's really nice to forage this time of year is the sweet chestnuts. This is actually a chestnut wood, and they used to grow the chestnut coppice to use for hops, for growing hops. And they drop these beautiful chestnuts, and usually when they're ripe, they kind of open up. They're really sharp. It's hard to get out. But what you can do is you can collect them, and what we do is you have to pierce them. You have to put a little hole in them, and you can put them on a pan on the fire or on a wood stove, and after about sort of 15 minutes they cook on the inside, and you can eat them, and they're really delicious, really nice, and you can take them out and use them in stuffings and things like that. But yeah, sweet chestnuts, they're really nice, not to be mixed up with horse chestnuts. Chestnuts are conkers, you definitely can't eat those, but these ones are edible, and they're really nice, really tasty. I have just found the first penny bun. Very exciting. It's been knocked over, so it's obviously been, this little animal has come over and picked it up and had a little nibble on it, maybe a bunny. And that's a really good example. It's a good size, isn't it?
Yeah. You can see the little bunny teeth, or little mouse or whatever it is that's had a crack at it.
Yeah. But that's a good size, and it's funny because they grow so quickly. That could possibly only be 2 days old.
Yeah.
They get really big. They can grow up to about 8 inches, and then at that point, I don't think they're really as good to eat. This is a really nice size, and usually when you find one, you really have to look, because very often nearby there are other ones. Oh, let's have a look. Yay! Oh, that one's so good.
That's the archetypal penny bun.
Yeah,
and you can see exactly why they call them penny buns, because it looks just like one of those sort of bread rolls you used to get in
yeah,
restaurants.
perfect. That's such a good size too. That's just the optimum size to use and to cook with. Beautiful. See here one that has gotten way too big. The slugs have started to eat it. I definitely wouldn't bother cutting that one and using it. It's just too far gone, but you can see how massive they get. Sometimes when they're kind of a little bit smaller, you can salvage a bit, can't you, of them?
Yeah, look, you can actually see you can see a little bit better with the distinctive kind of quality of them. You can see that sort of web on there.
Yeah, yeah.
And the tubes.
Yeah.
Which actually you could still eat a lot of this. You just peel off that.
Yeah.
Then you can see the construction. Let's see all the tubes there.
Yeah.
That's what's distinctive about a bolete.
Spongy, yeah.
Yeah. Look, actually, some of that you can still eat.
Sometimes the worms get into it.
Yeah, they do. You want to pick them when it's dry. It's the best time for it. But you look, it's a bit sort of bready. It won't be the best. You could still eat it though.
Yeah.
Beautiful things though.
Yeah.
Hunt around here, which is a place where they occur every year, more or less the same time, more or less the same place.
Yeah.
And you always know when they're going to occur because you have this distinctive leaf colour, which is a bit like manila envelopes and nougat, and that kind of is a signal of the time of the year it is, I always think, and it triggers me to start looking.
What sort of, so you were saying it's usually oak that they're around?
Well, oak and chestnuts.
Yeah.
But sort of, they like a little bit of dappled shade. They don't like loads of overgrown, foliage over them.
You were saying as well to cut them with a knife, not.
Well, there's a big debate about it, whether you're supposed to cut them with a knife or just pluck them because you disturb the mycelium and stuff. But
yeah.
I've read that it doesn't actually matter, and it's like picking an apple. But I must admit, I do always cut them, just for neatness. But I can't see any at the moment.
But it's funny how where we find them each year, they always come back at the same spot.
Yeah.
So they spread the spores, I guess.
Yeah.
And
I look at my diary, and I know when they're going to come.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they do, and it's a lovely thing. Though this year we had a weird occurrence where some turned up about a month early, and I guess that was sort of global warming. But
oh, is that one?
Yeah, here's one. Yeah. So this is obviously this has been nibbled by a little mouse as well, but you can see, and they're so hard to spot.
They really are. They just blend in so well, don't they, to the colour of the leaves.
Yeah, that's just
which I suppose is nature, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's why they do it. Oh, look.
So look,
Here we go.
There's another one that's been snuffled up by an animal. And then look at these.
Beautiful. Look at them.
And you can see just why they call them penny buns.
Oh, aren't they gorgeous?
Yeah, and there's
one over there too.
Here.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, you can see them, how camouflaged they are. And then there's another one. There's one coming up there, and then another one that's been knocked over. Come back from the woods. We've got really a good selection of penny buns, ceps, porcinis, according to where you live. The name changes, but oh, they smell delicious, really good. We've got about 5 or 6 of them, and so I'm going to be doing some cooking. I'm going to do a really yummy omelette I'm going to make with them, which I'll do in a minute. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about looking for them. Again, I have to stress, do not pick mushrooms if you're not 100% sure of what they are. Mr. T has been doing it for about 7 years now. He doesn't pick very many mushrooms. He only looks for field mushrooms and boletes and chanterelles. So all 3 of them, it's quite hard to mix them up with anything that is poisonous. So we're always 100% sure before we eat them that they are indeed what we're looking for. But This book is very, very, very good, and we've referred to it so many times in the past. It's the River Cottage Handbook. They do handbooks on lots of different nature things, but this one's obviously on mushrooms, and I cannot stress how good it is, and how simple it is to use. It has all the mushrooms that are found in England and the UK, and here, for example, is the cep, and it's great because it really breaks down what they look like, where they grow, what the stem and the cap has, the kind of characteristics of it, the flesh, and the frequency, what time of year they come into season, what time of year you're going to find them, and what environment you're going to find them in. And also, most importantly, it always says in the text what you can potentially mix them up with that could be dangerous. With ceps, there really isn't much, you know, that they say that you can mix them up that could be dangerous. There are other boletes that like oak boletes that aren't dangerous to eat by any means, but they're just not quite as tasty. So it's quite a low risk one, the penny buns, the ceps. But this guide is so good. And it's really, if you're kind of wanting to get into foraging, it's such a great thing to have. So that's what we've been using. And what I was going to say as well was that eating them fresh is great. You know, when we get a fresh batch of mushrooms, I love frying them up just for about a minute in garlic and butter, and you can use them in so many things, in quiches, in omelets, and actually it's really nice to just have them on toast with a bit of garlic, olive oil, butter. Putting them on a really nice sourdough is delicious. But if you get a big glut of them, sometimes you've got too many, and then after a few days in the larder, they're not as fresh. A really good thing that we do is we dry them. So these are from last year. I still haven't used all of them, and they smell incredible. Oh my God, they smell so good. Now, what we did before we got a dehydrator, we've got a dehydrator now, and it's incredible. And that's what we used to dry these. What we did beforehand was we tried it in the bottom rack of the agar, and I found my agar was a little bit too hot, and it kind of toasted them, which is not what you want. You want it literally to just very slowly draw the moisture out of them so that they can keep. So it didn't really work in my agar. But what we did do that did work is we used the fridge. So the fridge naturally will take out moisture slowly out of things. So we would slice them really thinly, put them on like a cookie drying rack, and put them in the fridge for about 5-6 days, and then they would become really dry, and that would work. So that's what we did before we had a dehydrator. It's worth kind of playing around with it because it's quite good. And then once you've got these, they last a long time. I've never had any of them go off. They're perfectly good to store. And I use them for stocks and things. So if I'm doing like a beef stew or anything kind of red meat based, or if you're veggie, if you want to kind of have that kind of rich meaty flavor, this is what you want to use. It's great. You just do a handful of these and then pour over some boiling water, leave it for about 5 minutes, and then you've got a really beautiful mushroom stock. So they're so handy. I use them in bolognese and all sorts. So it's a really good idea to dry them if you get a glut of mushrooms. But I'm going to cook now. I'm going to make an omelette, and I will show you how I'm going to do so. So good. It's so extremely satisfying cooking something from an ingredient that you foraged or found in nature. It just doesn't get any better. You know it's healthy, you know it's good for you, it's free, it hasn't traveled any miles to get to you, and it's just so satisfying. And the actual act of going out and foraging and picking things, whether it be blackberries or mushrooms or apples, whatever, it's so good for the soul. It's so relaxing, and it it's so good for your well-being, really. So that's half the reason why I do it, is just to get out and go for a walk and look for something and give a really simple focus. So I love doing it. Anyway, thank you for watching my very first YouTube video. Oh gosh, as you can tell, I'm not an expert at this. There's some very dodgy camera angles, lighting and all of that, but hey ho, practice makes perfect, as they say, and I will hopefully get a little bit better each week at doing it. I have I've actually had lots of really, really good suggestions of things, topics that people would like me to chat about and show. A lot of people wanted to see the house, so I will definitely be doing that. Maybe do a tour of the kitchen, how we built it, and other parts of the house. So we'll be doing that. Definitely an element of fashion. I'll be chatting about fashion and vintage fashion in particular, and incorporating it into your wardrobe. Cooking, antiquing, thrifting, all sorts. So it will be a really mixed bag each week of what I chat about. Basically anything that I love, anything that kind of brings me joy, I'd like to really share with you. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a lovely week, and I will chat to you next week. Toodaloo.